I just love blowing 2-goal leads against division rivals only to lose in overtime. It's great. It's so much fun. So much fun, right? Talk about deja vu because the exact same thing just happened last night. The Sens get a 2-goal lead and they blow it and they lose in overtime. They have done this 2 nights in a row. Now, I will say I was way more irritated last night than I am right now. Um, this one had a bit of a different feel because I do feel like the Red Wings were the better team tonight. Um, but I just want to go ahead and say this right now. Levi Merlainen did not start tonight. I know. I'm shocked. You're shocked. Everyone's shocked. We can't believe it. James Reimer makes his first start as a Sen tonight, and I thought he played pretty well. And you know what? I'm just going to say this. I'm not saying the only reason the Sens got a point tonight was because of Reimer, but I think he was the main difference. I really do. Because there were some shots that he stopped tonight where I was like, you know what? This probably would have went in on Merlainen. He was a difference maker. I'm going to say it. Because he is, 37 years old? He is playing his first game in 276 days. And I thought he played pretty well. So, we'll go through the notes here. Game number 48 of the season was played on Sunday, January 18th against the Detroit Red Wings. It was a 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern start time, so this is a very quick turnaround after the game starting at 7 p.m. last night. So they're playing in less than 24 hours, 2 games in less than 24 hours, I should say. So this was the second meeting of the season between these two teams. The Red Wings did win 5-3 in Ottawa back on January 5th. And I said this in the video last night, I'll say it again here, but it is kind of weird how these two teams play today. Today is my mom's birthday, and they played on the 5th as well. That was my dad's birthday, so it's weird. Anyways. So starting goalies, as mentioned, James Reimer for the Sens and John Gibson for the Red Wings, and it's just so refreshing. Finally, Merlainen gets a night off. So the Sens were 22, 19, and 6 coming into tonight. The Red Wings were 29, 16, and 4. They've been having a great season, and thankfully, I'll little mini ramble here, mini ramble. So the game against Montreal, I am not the biggest fan of Montreal, obviously, as a Sens fan. And the game last night, they had a 2-goal lead and they blew it with like 4 minutes left, right? Against a division rival. I was really irritated last night. This one's different. Yes, it is against a division rival. Yes, they had a 2-goal lead, but they blew it way earlier in the game. So at least there's that, right? And I do like the Red Wings as a team. And I would like to see them make the playoffs again because it's going to be 9 years if they miss the playoffs this year. 8 or 9 years. They're definitely due. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I look at this game and yeah, they blew a 2-goal lead again, but they got a point, and I'm just so relieved that Merlainen did not start tonight. Okay, so let's go ahead and break down tonight's game and get into the stats here. So, the Red Wings win by a score of 4-3 in overtime, and again, I'm kind of feeling okay about this result, to be honest. Like, Detroit's been playing very well this season. The Sens get a point against a division rival, which is big. I know I'm going to sound negative here, but I still think they're just a bit too far out of it right now to make a comeback into the playoffs because everyone else is winning, seems like, but anyways, yeah. Sens are now 22, 19, and 7 on the season. The Red Wings are 30, 16, and 4, and I think they might actually be first in the division right now. Let me check this. They are tied with Tampa. Tampa's been on quite a heater lately themselves, but yeah, they're tied for first in the division, so, they got a point. I can't be too upset about this one. So we go through the stats and look at the shots. 34-22 for Detroit. Sounds right. Face-off percentage, the Sens do well in the dot. 59.3% compared to 40.7% for the Red Wings. And a power play again. Their power play was good again tonight, 2 for 3, which you love to see, but the penalty kill struggles again. but it could have been worse. So the Red Wings go 2 for 5 on their power play, so they kill off 3 out of 5, which is not good, not ideal, but like I said, it could have been worse. Penalty minutes 14 for Ottawa, 10 for the Red Wings. Hits were 24 to 19 in favor of the Sens. Block shots 11 to 10 in favor of the Red Wings. Giveaways 18 by Detroit, 11 from Ottawa, and the takeaways were 4 to 3 in favor of the Sens. And these two teams will not meet again for a little over a month, February 26th, and that'll be in Ottawa. So we'll go through the notes here. So before the game starts, there was a ceremony honoring Patrick Kane and his 500th career goal. I just want to say right now, Patrick Kane is one of my favorite players of all time. I've actually got a Blackhawks jersey with his name on it. He's always been one of my favorites, and yeah, so he scored his 500th career goal on January 8th against the Canucks. It was an empty netter, but hey, they don't ask how, they only ask how many, right? And one of the greatest players of all time. He is just the 5th U.S.-born player to score 500 goals. And, of course, he is closing in on Mike Modano as well for the all-time leaders as far as U.S.-born players go. I think he's only like 2 behind him now. He's really close to passing him, so it's only a matter of when now, right? Not if. So, we roll into the game itself now. So Chabot makes a strong play to the net, but he was stopped, and then the rebound was stopped as well. But then Batherson would get the second rebound, and he would score. So Drake Batherson scores at the 4:26 mark from Zetterlund and Chabot, and the Sens go up 1-0. But never for 1 second, I don't get my hopes up anymore with this team. Just don't do it. Like, I say the same thing every single game, every single video. Never get your hopes up with this team, and I did not, I promise. So, Kopp would get called for holding on Chabot, and I thought this was kind of a weak call. I don't know. Question mark. So the Sens go to the power play, and on said power play, there was a pass in front to Dylan Cousins, and he makes a nice move to the backhand, and he would score on the power play. So, Dylan Cousins scores. This is 39 seconds after the Sens go up 1-0. Now they're up 2-0. So Cousins scores his 15th of the season from Tkachuk and Batherson. Power play goal. Dylan Cousins, it's either the highest or the second highest percentage of his goals being scored on the power play. It's like the one of the top 2 percentages in the entire league, which is crazy. Like, his goals being scored on the power play. So, yeah, this is we're looking good, right? We're up 2-0 pretty early. We're 5 minutes in. We're looking good. No, we're not. It's the Sens. Who are we kidding? Again, I did not get my hopes up for 1 second. So, Nick Cousins would take a penalty for elbowing, and this was also maybe a weak call. So I don't know. That the way I see it, okay, possibly a weak call against both teams, so we're even. That's how I saw it, right? So, the elbow was definitely there, though, but still, it's borderline, I would say. So, there was a failed clear attempt from the Sens, and I put in brackets, or not brackets, I put stuff in, like, quotations in my notes sometimes, so if it's in quotes, that means it's something that I was thinking in that moment. And right here, I was like, oh, they're going to pay for this. And right when I say that, a point shot from Sandin Pellikka goes straight in. Yep. So Axel Sandin Pellikka scores on the power play at the 7:16 mark from Kane and Kopp. And this would make it 2-1. And it's, is it even surprising anymore? Dude, the penalty kill. Oh my god, the penalty kill. It is so bad, but just I don't want to go off topic too much here, but like, they showed a stat about the Sens goaltending, which we all know it's been a struggle, right? Their team save percentage right now is historically bad. Historically. It is the 3rd worst save percentage of all time. Yep. And you know what's funny? The 2 teams ahead of them were also the Sens. back in the 90s, but still, it's pretty bad. Not pretty bad. It's extremely bad. But again, I thought Reimer played pretty good tonight. So, anyways, there was a very long scrum in front of the benches, and this was a mess. This was a complete mess. It went on for what felt like forever. And coming out of this, because Pinto would end up leaving the bench, and because he left the bench, this would end up being a too many men penalty against Ottawa. So the Red Wings go back to the power play, and I'm like, yep, here we go. Like, it legit looked like the Sens get a 2-0 lead, and it's like they're trying to throw it away with all these penalties, and it's not the only reason they threw it away, but I mean, Detroit had 5 power plays. This, again, that's what I meant earlier, right? Like, this could have been way worse as far as their penalty kill went, but yeah, so Detroit ends up getting a power play out of this. There were offsetting minors as well to a couple guys. So I put in brackets, I keep saying brackets, quotations, which again, that means it's something I'm thinking in the moment. So I thought that the game was going to be tied here for sure. But they do kill it off. There were some good clears on this penalty kill, and the Sens do manage to kill it off. So towards the end of the period, the game starts to get a bit more tight checking, and there's not really a ton of shots for either team. So then Cider will get called for tripping. So the Sens go back to the power play. And then 3 seconds into that power play, there was a huge glove save by Gibson on Batherson. And that was pretty much all they did on that power play. 3 seconds in. But that was a huge save for Gibson. So then there's another scrum around the Detroit net. Right after the power play expires, there weren't any penalties that came out of that. There were definitely some emotion, some chippiness in this game. You'd expect that. 2 division rivals, I would hope there is. So we come to the end of the first period, and I thought this was a pretty good period for the Sens because they have a 2-1 lead heading into the first intermission. And the shots in the first period were tied 9-9. So I thought it was a good period. Reimer made some good saves. Obviously, you don't like to see them give up a power play goal, but feeling pretty good. Well, not really, because it's the Sens, right? Anyways, we roll on to the second period here. So Detroit would get a one-timer. That was stopped. That was a good chance there. Big save by Reimer. And then there was another good chance by Detroit. That was stopped as well, but Reimer was looking behind him. He wasn't sure where it was, but it did stay out. But at the end of the day, he still made the save. And at the start of the second period, the Sens are sitting back just a little bit too much here for my liking. Just a bit too much. So, as I put that, right after I put that, the Sens get a 2-on-1, and Tkachuk, he shoots. He does shoot, but he's stopped. And the thing is, I've said this before, and I'll say it again, if your team gets, or if my team gets a 2-on-1 or an odd man rush, and they shoot, I will never complain about that, ever. Never. It's just, that just sounds like a crazy thing to complain about, right? So it's good to see him shoot. They need to do this more often. Look at last night, right? Anyways, yeah, he was stopped, and after that, Raymond would gain the zone, and he would let a wrist shot go, and he would score. Now, this was maybe kind of a bad goal, maybe, but again, you're asking Reimer to come into a pretty tough situation, right? You're jumping on a moving train, basically. Like, the season's over, halfway finished. His first game in whatever it was, 200 and... what did I say it was? It's in my notes. Where is that? I just want to find that again. 276 days, the first time he has played a game. That's how long it's been. So, yeah, that long shot by Raymond, it would go in, and it would tie the game at 2. So Lucas Raymond scores at the 6:06 mark of the second period from Casper and Sherrod, and we're tied at 2, and it's like, I wasn't surprised. It's like this team is so freaking fragile, so it's like, it's almost more surprising if they don't blow it. So, anyways, we gotta tie a game. So Greg, right after this, would take an interference penalty, and this is a weird play. This is a really weird play. So Greg would run into Raymond. Now, he does skate into him, It's nowhere near the puck. Yes, I do think maybe it should be interference, maybe. But they would end up reviewing this for a possible major. But they do end up calling a minor here. Now, the thing with this play, I was watching this on TSN. They never showed us a really good angle. At least I didn't see it, unless I stepped away for a minute and I didn't see it. The only angle they showed was like this one way over in the corner from the back. It's like from the angle that I saw, it didn't even look like Raymond got hit in the head. That's what I saw on the angle that TSN showed. But Raymond would end up leaving the game for a bit, and he would come back. He did come back, so I don't know. Unless they showed a better angle on a different broadcast, they did not show a good angle at all on TSN. Again, if they did show one, then I didn't see it. So, but yes, I do think this is at least interference because it's nowhere near the play. But anyways, the Red Wings go back to the power play again. So they get 3 shots on this power play, but the Sens do kill it off. So that's good to see. It's just there were a lot of shots tonight, I'm telling you. Like, it felt like they probably would have went in on Maryland, but Reimer made a lot of good saves tonight. So right after that, Perron would take a penalty for holding. So it's like, I put in my notes, the Sens are just playing with fire at this point. Like, what are we doing? Like, we're trying to hand it to them at this point. So, and they're not getting a lot of zone time either. The Sens, it was not a very good second period at all. I did not like their second period tonight. So, the Red Wings go back to the power play, and Van Riemsdyk would end up scoring between the legs on a rebound. It's like they had like 2 or 3 cracks at it, and it's like it was only a matter of time. You could feel it coming. So, Van Riemsdyk would score on the power play at the 16:53 mark from Larkin and DeBrincat, and now the Red Wings are up 3-2. I wasn't surprised. It's so sad to say, but I'm not surprised. Like, this team, I know there's a lot of young players just in the league in general, not just with the Sens, but man, oh man, it looks like they're, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, it looks like they're really young. Just, especially tonight, like blowing these multi-goal leads like this, like, it just, man, oh man. And I don't know how you can teach players not to do that, because like everybody does it, right? Just, that tendency to sit back when you got a lead. But just in the blink of an eye, they are now trailing by 1. So after this, Detroit would actually take a penalty. So the Sens go back to the power play, and then there was a pass down low to Pinto, and he would score on the power play. This is a very late goal. So 19:05 into the period, Pinto scores on the power play, his 14th of the season from Giroux and Perron, and that's a big goal. That would tie the game at 3. So I still did not like the period from the Sens. The shots in that second period end up being 15-10 for the Red Wings. Just, I didn't like the period. Yeah, they do score on the power play at the end there, but I didn't like it. So we head into the second intermission, tied at 3. So going into the third period, this is funny. I didn't say this. Jamie McLennan was talking about needing to stay disciplined during, like, right before the third period started. And less than a minute into the period, the captain, Tkachuk, takes a tripping penalty. Because why not, right? And Detroit, they got some chances, they got some looks, they got 3 shots, but the Sens do kill it off again. We got to stay out of the box. Jeez, like, seriously. So 2 Sens would collide on a play, and this would lead to a 3-on-1 for Detroit. And thankfully it stays out. There was some really bizarre and weird stuff going on. It didn't look like the Sens' heads were in the game in the third period. I don't know what was going on. And to be honest, it kind of felt like both teams were playing for overtime. And I forget who said it now. Oh, I forget who said it. Somebody said it during the broadcast, but it's like, basically what they said is getting to overtime feels like a win. It's a bad mindset to have. That is a very, very bad mindset to have. Because look what happened. But yeah, it just it felt like they were playing for overtime, especially the Sens. They had basically nothing going on in this third period at all. Um, I mean, Detroit didn't really do that much either outside of that power play. So Dylan Cousins would have a good look right in front of the net, but he was stopped. And I put in my notes, it just kind of feels like Detroit's gonna win this. It just, I don't know. I don't know how to explain this stuff, but like I just sometimes I feel stuff when I watch this team play, and usually I'm right. So it's like, can I be surprised? Cause look who won. But the Red Wings are getting the majority of the chances in the zone time. Like the Sens are not doing anything in this period at all. So Reimer would end up making a big save off a deflection. That could have easily went in. And at this point in the game, the refs are starting to let stuff go. There were definitely some things that were not called that they could have. There was an apparent, it looked like interference that the Sens should have gotten, but they got away with one there. So yeah, they were just kind of, they put the whistles away in the third period. So Pinto would get a good look in front of the net, and he was stopped. So we end up going to overtime again. There wasn't really too much going on in the third period. Like, I do not have a lot of notes for that third period. So the shots in that third period, 9-3. 3 in favor of Detroit. 3 shots. Like, they were playing for overtime. And again, I just feel like it's a bad mindset to have. Now, people are gonna think I'm lying when they watch this and listen to it. So we go to overtime, right? Now I'm just thinking, well, let's see which players have scored tonight. Okay, yep, cool. So for those of you who don't know, on the Tim Hortons app, you can pick players who you think are gonna score, right? One of the players that I picked was DeBrincat, right? So to this point of the game, DeBrincat has not scored. So I'm like, I feel like DeBrincat's gonna win it. Guess who won it? It sounds like I'm lying. It sounds like I'm making it up, but I am not even kidding. I said this out loud. I'm like, oh, DeBrincat's finally gonna win it, or he's gonna end it, and he did. He did. So Alex DeBrincat scores against his former team, one of his former teams, and he wins it in overtime. Cause yeah, I know it sounds like I'm lying, but I'm not. I promise. So DeBrincat scores 36 seconds into overtime. That feels very familiar, doesn't it? What was it, like 30 something seconds into overtime last night when Caulfield won it, right? Anyways, it's weird how similar this game was to last night, but yeah. So DeBrincat scores, Copp gets the assist, and 4-3 ends up being your final in overtime. So there you go. So we look at the 3 stars of the game. So first star of the game is obviously Alex DeBrincat. He scored the overtime winner. He also had an assist. Second star of the game was Batherson. He had a goal and an assist. And the third star of the game was Van Riemsdyk. He had 1 goal. So the final shots, they do end up being 34-22. That goal, the overtime goal, that was the only shot in overtime, by the way. Just want to throw that in there. So, yeah, we'll go look at the box score for the Sens. Alright, so our point getters. A lot of guys had points tonight. So Batherson, as mentioned, he had a goal and an assist. So Tkachuk, Zetterlund, Giroux, and Perron all had 1 assist. Dylan Cousins and Pinto had a goal. And on the defense, Chabot had the only point for defense. He had 1 assist. Let's see. Chabot was +1. Sanderson was -2, and then every other defenseman was even. Actually, that's weird. That looks weird when I see that. Batherson and Zetterlund were +1 for forwards. Tkachuk, Pinto, Amadio, and Perron were all -1. Everyone else was even. Time on ice. Leading the forwards in ice time was Greg, apparently, with 1957. That's different. Yeah, it does feel like he played a lot tonight. And leading defense in ice time was Sanderson, played 26:06. So let's see here. Zub had 2 shots with which led the defense. And Kachuk, Zetterlund, and Dylan Cousins all had 3 shots, which led the forwards. Pinto and Giroux had 1 block, which led the forwards. The only blocks for forwards. Chabot had 3 blocks, which led the defense. And Jensen, Clevin, and Chabot all had 2 hits, which led the defense. And Amadio had 4 hits, which led the forwards. So if we look at Reimer's save percentage, he stops 30 out of 34 for an .882 save percentage. So again, it is a sub 900 save percentage, but you're asking him to do a lot, right? It's his first game in a very long time, 200 whatever it is, 200 something days. He's on the older side, he's 37, and he's coming in against a very good team in Detroit. So I thought Reimer played pretty good. It says he played 60-08, apparently. I guess delayed penalties might have affected that, but anyways. Yeah, I don't know. Overall, I kind of feel okay about this getting a point because I guarantee if Maryland started tonight, this game would have ended in regulation. Detroit winning it. I can almost assure you that. So, Maryland was the backup tonight, but he didn't end up playing. They finally got a break. I'm happy for him because like he needs a break. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. But yeah, that is pretty much it for this one. So, the next game is going to be on Tuesday, January 20th against the Columbus Blue Jackets, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern start time. This game is going to be very significant for me personally because I will be doing a live watch party. Yes. So just earlier today, I did a short little test stream, just testing everything out, making sure I can go live here, which I can. And I made the announcement that yes, I will be starting to do live watch parties. Now, I said it all, I explained everything in the video, so I won't, or not the video, the stream, I explained everything. So I won't talk about too much here, but yes, that's going to be my first ever live watch party to a Sens game, and I'm just going to be honest, I do have a very laid back and not very energetic persona, but when I watch a Sens game live, I kind of turn into a different person, so might make for some good content. So anyways, yes, that is pretty much it for this one. The Sens fall to the Red Wings 4-3 in overtime. They do get a point, which is huge in with how the league is nowadays. So yes, we will see if the Sens can go 1-0 to start my live watch party. I don't know what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean. Hopefully they can win the first game that I do a live watch party for. There you go. That sounds better. Anyways, I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. Sens fall in overtime again, back-to-back nights against division rivals, which kind of sucks, but at least I got a couple points, right? Anyways, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you all so much for watching, and go Sens go.